Man, day 3 is kicking out crazy right now. There's people running to every episode and speech and everything that's happening. It's wild today. So I got to hear about an interesting story about different types of new technology from all the partners that have come and joined us, and that you've been joined with Nicholas here before. We have a new Jay here to tell us about visibility. So Jay, before I kick off for the audience, why don't you tell us a little bit about visibility?
Sure. VSBLTY is one of these companies that is intending to disrupt the marketplace that we serve. We're a computer vision company. What we're doing really for the first time is we're providing computer vision solutions that allow retailers to measure live audiences directly in retail. This is hugely beneficial to retailers because advertisers, big CPGs, consumer packaged good companies, want to deliver advertising impressions directly at the point of decision. And the store really is better than anything you can imagine. Other media channels like the internet, print media, broadcast, billboard, these are all locations that don't have the benefit of having products available right at the point of sale. And the store, now that we're able to measure the store accurately and in real time, it's going to explode as a category.
That's awesome. And Nicholas, knowing you guys have had a bit of history as partners together here, why don't you give us the Lenovo side of that?
So it's very funny because I worked with ISVs all over the world, and I'm a tech guy. And there are very few times actually that I work with a partner that, because the product looks so good, I can kind of show my friends, even those outside of tech, and they will automatically understand what we're talking about. Because without wanting to make a pun, it's very visible, the work that VSBLTY is doing. So when you think about from a point of view of competition, so basically retailers out here in NRF, one of the things that they're thinking is, how can we compete with e-commerce? And part of it is that which cannot be measured cannot be improved. And being able to work with a company like VSBLTY that not only has their software to an incredibly, turned into an incredibly great solution, they also have a lot of retail marketing and agency experience. So they are able to basically provide this full solution, which combines software, a deep knowledge of retail, and a deep knowledge of hardware, and looks great. I would deeply recommend people checking it out online, the visuals that they create.
Definitely. And if I could ask a little bit, like for our audience out there, what are the main challenges that retailers come to you with? Like the main question you hear over and over again that you are helping solve?
So there's an organic understanding amongst retailers that their stores have advertising value, but they haven't got a clue how to peel the onion, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, but they're uninterested in doing it because they're a retailer.
Yeah.
Retailers want to be retailers.
Yep.
They don't want to be advertising companies. But because of the success of Google and Amazon with respect to generating advertising revenue, billions of dollars of advertising, not a small amount of revenue.
Yeah.
Retailers have at least a natural understanding that their stores have value. So what we do is we go in and we say, relax, we'll relieve you of the financing, we'll relieve you of the technical assessment, we'll relieve you of the responsibility of selecting the locations within the store that are most valuable from an advertising point of view. We'll execute, monitor, manage, we'll even drive brand buy.
Okay.
And that's a message that we didn't start the company with that message, but we've evolved into that message because of the demands in the marketplace.
And that's something that showcases the retailers out there, the ability to be agile, that you are coming there with a customer first or retailer first message, and it's about them and getting their go-to-market with advertising available and constructed specifically for their needs. That's what's very special about this. And the utilization of computer vision, I mean, that is such a big thing where a lot of retailers are going. I guess the other question for retailers out there, and this is to both of you, from a technological standpoint, kind of what do you see as the biggest hindrance for retailers right now in the ability to scale and uplift this from watching and everything?
Let me start with the boring part first. Jay said it perfectly. Retailers want to be retailers, and there's a few out there that they have, let's say, their own data scientists, sometimes even their own AI engineers. For a long time, people thought that only those retailers were allowed to deploy artificial intelligence, and only those people could get the full value of it. So the market changed dramatically over the last few years, and solutions such as VSBLTY, they're getting simpler and simpler to be able to deploy effectively and easily. I would go I'll go to bat to saying that somebody that wants to start working with visibility can start working tomorrow. Like they don't need to make large investments in internal IT people first. So there is a fear there on not being technologically advanced enough to take advantage of those solutions. And that connects with something else that we were talking on the podcast before, which is AI should be about value, not about code. When we talk to a retailer, to a customer, we need to make it feel that this is on their terms, on something that is important to them. And so I think that that's one of the first barriers on deploying more AI on retailers. But Jay, you probably are closer to the bone on that one.
Yeah, there are landmines to navigate for sure. And one of the landmines is if you go to a retailer with this idea of deploying digital display and computer vision, artificial intelligence in the store, and you're talking to them about a revenue line, the first thing they'll say to you is, do not touch my trade budget. Do not touch my trade dollars. This is money they get from brands for positioning and slotting and physical real estate. That's money they've been relying upon for decades.
Yep.
So the moment you say to them, you're bringing new revenue, the bugaboo in the back of their head is, oh, this is a problem because we are not going to touch traditional revenue. But once you help them understand that in the brands, there's trade people and there's media people. We're going to the media people. The same people that buy 10 million impressions on Amazon or on Facebook, those are the people that we're going to go drag budget from. And we're going to come to them with the following narrative. We can deliver you high value impressions at the point of sale, what a marketer might call the moment of truth, the place where brand preference is secured. So that's a very high value location. And all we have to do is argue that that particular location is better than print, is better than broadcast, is better than internet, is better than billboard. And frankly, right now, because of the mechanics working in our favor, it's an easy conversation. So these are the landmines, but once you get through them, and frankly, it stalled us on some deals because we haven't properly articulated that, but we're a living organism. We get smarter, ideally, day after day, and we're modifying our narrative to make sure that that's clear.
That's what Jay just said there is literally the definition of shop talk beats tech talk.
Yep.
Like being able to figure out what's the landmine from the point of view of different stakeholders inside of your client is such an advantage. Because sometimes people are talking to somebody and they say, whoa, no, but Johnny here loves my solution. Like, let's call like Walmart definitely is going to be a client of mine. And you don't realize that Walmart is not a person. Like Walmart is a whole system of people all over the place, making decisions, figuring it out. It doesn't take too much to slow down a deployment dramatically.
There can be technical appreciation for a solution, but that's an academic win. Unless it's integrated into workflow, unless it's connected to execution and outcome, insight, it's never going to succeed. And I have to tell you that as a 25-year tech guy, I've been involved in many innovations which are technically superior, but irrelevant from a workflow perspective, because we can't jump the schneid. We can't get to the other side.
Yeah, and so I have lots of questions. I guess from a use case perspective, for clarification to our audience out there, kind of myself, I'm an outdoor guy. I love to hike. I talked to Nico about this as an owner of wolves. I hike 10 miles a day. I mean, I am always out there. And one of the challenges I go and look at is products that could be really useful to me. They don't capture me. I don't have visibility to them, if you will. No pun intended. So kind of like if...
It's a good name, Joe.
That's visibility with the eyes.
Yeah.
We got rid of the eyes. I have no idea why, but we did.
We don't need to see it to believe it.
Right.
So kind of take us through in a generic statement of how this would come together to attract a user like me to come and spend more money.
From a consumer perspective.
Yes. Or for a retail listener, they're trying to get my money.
I think you're driving me to the consumer point of view, and I'm happy to go there. So we all think we're sort of free-thinking, autonomous individuals, but the truth is there's so much understood about how technology and advertising works that we're not that unpredictable. Yep. We're actually pretty damn predictable, remarkably and alarmingly predictable, actually. So we know that movement attracts eyeballs.
Yeah.
And it may only attract eyeballs for a short, sort of specified duration of time, but movement attracts eyeballs. So when you're deploying advertising in retail, you must incorporate movement. If you don't incorporate movement, you're going to lower the number of eyeballs and the engagement level. And brands care and measure engagement. So they want to know 25-year-old females engage for an average of 13 seconds on this particular promotion. 45-year-old males engage for an average of 9 seconds on this particular promotion. So the point is, we have to provide value to the consumer, because if we don't, then there'll be no interest in it. So these are mechanisms where we attract attention and then we drive offers.
Yep.
And it's the driving of the offers and then the take up of those offers, the willingness to accept that offer, that's really beneficial. And just as a last comment, if we as an industry develop this technology with no regard for the consumers, it'll be a short-lived experience.
Exactly.
Because the consumer at the end of the day is in charge, and at the end of the day, we're seeking the consent from that user to engage in a dialogue. Because as we're moving to more of a privacy compliant world where data sovereignty is mine, then I have to willingly give up that consent in order to receive an offer.
And this is what is so big for those of you out there that aren't here at NRF, the customer focus. I mean, COVID has changed everything. Customers are more in tune with how they shop, how they buy, everything, and they want retailers to understand that and give them what they want. And this is allowing retailers...
And not give them what they don't want.
Correct.
Right? The noise.
Yeah.
Right.
You are finding a specific item that customer wants with intelligence behind it to prove it. For anybody out there as well, we are up in the Innovation Lab. What's the booth number again?
8103.
Right
you
around the
surprised
corner.
me with that, but I was able to remember.
Look at this. Stop up, see, ask questions, because this is truly remarkable to kind of get into a deeper conversation. I don't want to go into it on here, but find us and come chat with us. And Nico, any closing thoughts on this?
Actually, I do. This time I do. So I would really invite everybody here to think about something that I only learned because I had the pleasure of working with Jay and Linda and his team. That is this idea of store as media. And the moment that you believe that your store is actually a channel for you to communicate with your customers, what are you communicating? Are you putting price tags and is that it? Or are we missing here an opportunity to have a space where we can basically introduce customers to ideas, interact with them, understand what they want? And it's funny because sometimes you work in technology and people would tell you like, oh, it's just ads. Ads built the internet basically with some of the solutions that we use today, starting from an ad base. And honestly, I would rather have an ad that I want to see, that I want to interact, that will remind me of something that I actually want to do, than basically having random like yellow post-its in a store telling me like super sale now. So let's take that. Like I learned from visibility, and I invite the people in the audience to learn from visibility here on what it means as store as media. Thank you so much, Jay,
Thank you,
for the partnership.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you so much.